today is Saturday, February 17th, 2018, and this I hope will be the first of a series of videos that I would like to record over the next year, documenting what things happened over the year in my most critical part of my health journey. And so I wanted to start on Valentine's Day, but I let my fears get the best of me, as they do sometimes, and didn't record that one. But today's a new day. God's mercies are new every morning. So here I am, thankfully. And what was going on today, this time 7 years ago, is that I was missing out on the America East Swimming and Diving Championships, and I wanted so badly to be there, to root on my teammates, to cheer them on, to give them the support that I wanted to give them, and to see them kick UMBC's butt. But I had something really important going on in my own life that I needed to show up for. I was battling stage 4 melanoma, and I was actually in Mexico for treatment. And before I decided to go to Mexico, or maybe after I had decided that's what I wanted to do, but before deciding which day I was going to leave, I talked to Gar Hildenbrand, who my mom and I had talked to, about what cancer treatments I was going to do, and told him about this dilemma I had about the championships and wanting to be there and enjoy that long weekend with my teammates, people who I'd become close with. And he said, well, it's only a week. You could wait and come to Mexico a week later. And I thought that was kind of strange or interesting that he thought I had that much time to wait, especially when I had already been waiting a few weeks to decide, or researching, trying to figure out what the heck we needed to do to save my life, which was very different compared to what my medical oncologist in conventional medicine suggested. She wanted me to start on chemotherapy right away, like the night that I found out, or within a couple days of getting the prescription. But I took a little bit of time to think about it, but in the grand scheme of things, I was in the fight for my life, and I was very afraid, and I didn't want to waste any time, or, God forbid that week would make a critical difference, which Gar didn't think it did, and maybe it wouldn't have, made or broken me, make or break. But anyway, I decided to go ahead and go to Mexico right away and miss out on my teammates miss out on witnessing my teammates crush UMBC. Unfortunately, they didn't beat UMBC, and I felt really bad. That I wasn't even there to cheer them on, let alone compete with them. But the reason I'm rambling on about this is because there might be something going on in your life, or something that you're afraid of missing out on. I don't know if it's food, which was something I also was afraid of missing out on. I still feel that today. Sometimes I miss foods, or want to have food that I know I shouldn't have, and sometimes I do have it, but I try not to get too crazy. Let's see, maybe there's a vacation that you want to go on, and you need the money to pay for your food or for your treatments, or maybe you just want to forget that you have cancer and that you need to dedicate all of your time to it. Maybe it's work. Maybe you're afraid of missing out on work. Fortunately, I was a student. I didn't have that struggle, but I did have to miss out on school. Maybe, I don't know. What else is it? What is it for you? What's your thing that you're afraid of missing out on? And then let's think about what could happen if you succeed, if you dedicate all that you have to your healing right now. What are the things that you can get? You can be healed. Maybe you won't be healed completely. Maybe one of the things that you're holding on to is unforgiveness, or I don't know, some issue that you're wrestling with that you know is taking away from your health. Maybe it's pride of some sort, some way that you don't want to change. But what I want to encourage you to do is to think about what your goals are. Why do you want to get well? What are your reasons for living? And just keep your mind fixed on that. Think about the people in your life who you're fighting for. For me, I wasn't married, didn't have any children, but my sister got engaged while we were on this search for what might save my life. And it's a funny story. She and her boyfriend at the time were going skiing or snowboarding, and they were on the mountain, and her boyfriend wanted to propose to her on the side of the mountain, but he was like pretending that there was something wrong with his boot, and my sister was like getting all frustrated with him, like, come on, let's go, what's wrong with you, get your boot on. I want to ski or snowboard, whatever. And so she like finally came over and was like, oh, what's going on? And he opened the box there and asked her to marry him, and she said yes. And then I found out. I was with my mom and my grandma at the Cancer Treatment Center of America in Tulsa, and I jumped on the bed, and I was so ecstatic for her. And yeah, I wanted to be there for her wedding, and I didn't want to be wasting away and feeling sick and miserable. That was one of the reasons I didn't want to do conventional therapies, and that's why I wanted to get well, was to be there for my sister in her wedding, and then be there for her kids, because I knew she wanted to have kids. It was in the spring 2011. I was in Boston. I think I was in my dorm room visiting my friends after I went into remission, and my sister wanted to FaceTime me. I had just an iPod at the time, and she was babysitting her nieces, twin girls, and we were FaceTiming, and she's like, we're gonna have some of these, like, I'm gonna have one of these, like, I'm gonna have a baby. And I was like, no, you're not. Because she wanted to travel. And, like, she had said she wanted a few years to travel after getting married before having her own kids. But she's like, yeah, we're having kids. I was like, no, you're not. She's like, yeah, we are. I was like, what? And then I asked her husband who came into the picture. He's like, yeah, it's true. I was like, oh my gosh. I started screaming and my roommate came in. She's like, what happened? And I accidentally hung up on my sister and she's like, I knew it. My friend was like, I knew it. I knew she was having a baby. And then in November 28th, I was at school. I was getting ready for a presentation that I had to give the next day in my it was one of my nutrition classes, food service management. I had a presentation with a couple classmates, and we were getting ready, and I was like waiting for updates about the delivery. And then the next day, I went home on the bus, and then I got the train, and my mom picked me up from the train, and went to the hospital, and um, and I held my baby nephew for the first time. And I remember I felt bad. I didn't even like say hi to my brother-in-law. I just went right to little baby Quentin, and he's since turned 5 years old. And then 15 months later, his brother Mason was born, and just about 8 months ago, my niece Avery was born. And these are the things that I had hoped for, that I wanted to live for. And by God's really amazing grace, He has given me my health and my my nephews and my niece. And I know that it's not something that God is going to give everyone, but there is the possibility for everyone. I really do believe that. God has always been performing miracles, from creation of the heavens and the earth and people and animals and plants, to Jesus healing the sick and the blind, to Jesus rising from the dead, to the miracle of me doing this video because I have fear of putting myself out there. And sometimes I get really stubborn and I don't do the things I know I should do. But like getting out of bed in the morning and coming and working, and that's a miracle in my life. And the gift of life is a miracle. Babies are miracles. They're incredible. But you can have a miracle. All things are possible with God. Even if you're the first person to ever have the type of cancer that you have. I mean, come on, like, people used to think that breaking a 4-minute mile was impossible. And then somebody did it. Like, we have to take steps of faith in order to see, like, if we don't believe something is going to happen, we're not even going to try. And so, therefore, it's impossible for something to happen if you don't believe in it. But if you do believe that it's possible, then you can take the steps that are needed to get that miracle, or that thing that you're really hoping for. So take that risk. Know that the things that you're missing out on now are not in vain. That they are worth what you're going to gain from your sacrifice. And maybe you won't get the healing that I've gotten, but there are a lot of good benefits to fighting the good fight. Maybe you'll have more energy. Maybe your lifespan will increase. And maybe you won't get physical healing, but you'll get emotional, spiritual healing. that you've wanted for a long time. You have things that are weighing you down that if you give them to God, He will take that burden away from you. You are loved by Him. So I hope that this gives you a bit of hope for your day today, and that you won't give up, that you'll keep fighting the good fight. Keep up your great work, and I'll catch you next time.